Had the cash is highly addictive, especially when you used to have the money to live with. I thought step back and get my life as a whole. Ain't no love to see the devil done stole my soul. I'm out for self-made, self-made. He's not ready, trying to get these flexes up. What's the cellular with me on it? I can't cope with all these bad niggas trying to shorten my book. The way the heart ain't devil beat.
Yo, what's up, y'all? What's up, everybody? Alright. Thanks for coming out, you know what I mean? Showing support and all that. Well, you know, my name is Prodigy. Come here to kick it with y'all for a little while. How y'all doing tonight? Alright? No doubt. So, just to let you know a little something, you know, in case you didn't know about Mobb Deep. You know, we've been in the game since like 1993, and right now we got a new project coming out for Black Friday in November. It's called Black Cocaine, and it's an EP that we're dropping before our album. The new album after that will be called Mobb Deep. So we just, you know, continuously working on our music and keeping the name alive and all of that. We've been dropping a lot of albums throughout the years, and we want to keep that going. You know, we ain't tired yet, we ain't trying to stop yet. We got a lot more to do that we haven't done yet. So, you know, that's what we do, you know what I mean? I put a book out recently. I just came home from jail. I did 3 years in prison for a gun charge. And while I was in prison, you know, I finished a book project that I was working on. It's called My Infamous Life. And I put that out when I got out. So that's something new that I just released, and it's out there. And in the book, it talks about basically like my life growing up, where I'm from, and in the music industry, and my family, and dealing with sickle cell, and you know, the street life, and all kinds of stuff in there. So it's definitely a good book for like the youth, you know what I mean, to check out, because they can relate to a lot of it, I believe, you know, and it's a coming of age story, so they can learn a lot from it, you know, I think, from my life and my mistakes and all, you know, the success that we've been blessed with. You know, I share all that in the book, so, you know, so I just come to kick it with y'all. So, y'all got any questions, we can start questions, or, you know, how we gonna do this? What up? Yes?
How was it like being incarcerated with your health issues, with having sickle cell?
I got a mic, so when you say it, just so everybody can hear you, all right?
My question was, how was your experience being incarcerated with you having sickle cell anemia?
It was something that I learned that I had to prepare for, because, you know, growing up, I had been arrested a few times before, and I served a little 2 weeks here, you know, 3 weeks there, and so I know how it was, you know, when I experienced those short times in my past, and it wasn't nothing nice, you know, because with sickle cell, they don't really know what's going on, you know what I mean? Especially the majority of the COs in the jail system, you know, white, you know what I mean? Caucasian, whatever have you, and they don't really understand that. The majority of them don't understand that, you know what I mean? So it was definitely hard. A couple of times when I was locked up in my past, I went through some experiences where I was like, this can't happen no more, you know what I mean? So I went through that, and that prepared me for when I had to go to prison this time. And yeah, so I already knew it was coming, and you know, I had to deal with it, but it's definitely hard to deal with that, you know what I mean, and being locked up, you know. I would say, be careful out there, don't commit no crime. You know what I mean? Especially if you got something like that, because that's something else that you got to deal with besides in there during that time. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't avoid that.
What's going on, man? Just, you know, growing up with the disease and all that, how much would you say you put a priority? Like, if you had to rank it, how much of a priority was it throughout your career?
I mean, there was times in my career where I didn't take it seriously, you know what I mean? I didn't take my health seriously and all of that. You know, I had to learn that when I got older. I had to learn how to do that. So, you know, it was hard in the beginning because I didn't really have the full understanding of it. I was just young and running around and having fun on the road and, you know, doing all that stuff, wanting to live that wild, you know, road life. So I had to go through my, you know, trials and tribulations with that. And I learned that, you know, I gotta take care of myself. You know, I gotta eat healthy because, and, you know, I gotta do the things I gotta do to stay healthy because, you know, the road is definitely hard. You know, you don't eat good a lot of times, you don't get a lot of rest, you know what I mean? So, and you using so much energy up there on stage, you know what I mean? So it takes a lot out of you. So, you know, I had to learn to take care of myself. Because there was times I was getting real sick on the road, and I had to go to hospitals all over the country, you know what I mean? Like, it was one time, we was in India, I had to go to the hospital in India, it was crazy, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I had to learn to really just buckle down and cut the nonsense out.
Like, what type of sickle cell do you have? I know there's different types. What type do you have?
I got SS type sickle cell. That's like the worst form that there is. Yeah, I can't even tell you what SS stand for, to tell you the truth, you know what I mean? But I know I got that, you know what I mean? I need to know what that means. It just made me think about that. Well, but I had SS type sickle cell, and you know, it's definitely bad, you know what I mean? It's definitely bad, like it can trigger it at any moment. Like if I do something wrong, you know what I mean? Like overexert myself or anything, you know what I mean? That's crazy. I gotta just chill, you know what I mean? Eat good, live peaceful, and all of that, you know what I mean? Because it's bad, this shit, the sickle cell that I have.
Well, I was wondering, because I know Mobb is more than just you, how did schizophrenia affect the group as a whole?
It affected us as a whole, I would say, by missing some shows. Probably there's a lot of times where we had to miss shows, or miss certain events because I couldn't make it, you know, because I was in the hospital, so maybe sometimes I had to do a show by itself, or like, you know, we couldn't do the show at all, we had to cancel. So it affected us, you know, financially and, you know, on the marketing side, just being out there promoting, definitely it took a toll on us, a little something, not a major toll though, you know, but it definitely has taken, you know, maybe took some hits, you know, here and there because of that.
Hi, what can you say to another artist who has any disease so they can like mentally overcome?
You said so they can mentally overcome it? I would say, just find something that you love in life. You know, find that love in your life, whatever it is. For me, it's music. You know what I mean? For me, it's, you know, just experience in life. You know, I learned that you know, everything is just a great experience for me in life. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it, and I love to live life. So mentally, you know, I'm strong as hell because of that, and you know, I feel I have the attitude where nothing can stop me. I'm gonna enjoy my life and live it to the fullest and have fun because life is beautiful. You know what I mean? So I got that in my mind. So that keeps me strong and that keeps me going because I'm enjoying myself.
I'm just a little curious because I remember you said you have a healthy diet. Is like, I don't know what that means. Is there some foods that you can't eat, and is there something that you really love that, like, you know, maybe you shouldn't be eating that thing?
Yeah, I mean, I learned that for me, you know what I mean? I learned that, you know, fried foods and like, you know, pork or beef or certain things like that. I try to stay away from all of that stuff. You know what I mean? I try to stay away from it as much as possible, and I do. You know what I mean? I do, but sometimes here and there, you know, I may crave, you know, BLT or something, you know what I mean? Or whatever, but, you know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, you're gonna have those little cravings, because, you know, that's what we grew up eating as far as myself. That's what I grew up eating, you know what I mean? All that crazy stuff. So, but for the most part, you know, my diet is strictly like green vegetables, grilled food like fish or chicken or turkey, you know, baked, broiled or grilled, you know, and vegetables, like a lot of greens, you know what I mean? Because the green vegetables it's just good for you, you know what I mean? It's just all around, it's good for everything. You know, you can't even really pinpoint one thing it's good for. Yeah, and a lot of water, you know what I mean? I learned that, you know, soda and juice, it got a lot of artificial colors, flavors, and other ingredients in there that just attack your body. It doesn't help to, you know, keep the cycle of life going. It destroys the cycle of life, you know what I mean? So I stay away from that stuff as much as possible.
I had two questions. My first was about your book and how I read it, and it was really a great book because you talked about how you grew up and your experience in life and like how you learned about your sickle cell disease as far as being a child. And in your early childhood, you were actually exposed to like the benefits of like a proper education, having a grandmother that owned a dance studio. So that brings me to my first question, like having a family with a background in music, did that affect you musically? Did it lead you to be a conscious rapper that you are, or you know, and still keep it, you know, gutter?
Yeah, my background and how I was raised, you know, it definitely had an effect on the rest of my life, you know what I mean? Because I learned a lot of stuff that I may not have learned if I lived somebody else's life, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the way my grandmother and my parents and my family raised me, you know, half of my family had money, the other half of my family was from the projects, you know what I mean? So I seen both sides of the track. You know, I went to a private elementary school. I seen what that's like. You know, I experienced that. And I've been to the hood junior high school or whatever, you know what I mean? The hood schools. And I seen what that was like, you know what I mean? So it's definitely a good thing. It's just like traveling the world. You get to experience new things and learn more, and you become more of a rounded person. You learn different things, you know what I mean? And you experience more. You know what I mean? So definitely, you know, the way I grew up, it helped to shape who I am right now.
My second question was, I also saw like YouTube videos you getting interviewed about your book and also discussing how like the government keeps the truth away from people and how you speak on at least letting your friends or people in your circle know what the truth is. And what that brings me is like, why do you feel like, you know, having the confidence that you do, like being the rapper that you are, you were able to speak on it, you know, at least keeping it real while other rappers at least choose not to acknowledge it?
I don't know, to tell you the truth. I guess it's just my personality, you know, like you just said, you know, the way I was raised, it shaped who I am, and it made me be an outspoken person. You know what I mean? I'm not scared to speak my mind. You know, I'm not scared to rise to the occasion or step up to the challenge or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So I think, you know, that has a lot to do with it, why I, you know, put what I learned out there, you know, and it's all out there now. When I was growing up, you know, a lot of the information about diet and you know, like you know, information about the behind the scenes, like the inner workings of the governments and secret societies that's out there and all that type of, you know, esoteric information like that wasn't really easily available as it is now. You know what I mean? It's all over the internet and it's everywhere now. So there's nothing they can really hide from you anymore. You know, it's all for you there for your choosing to choose to learn or not. You know what I mean? So I definitely think they don't promote it like for you to learn it. You know what I mean? But it's nothing being hidden anymore.
Hey, you made a comment earlier that you don't know what SS means, but I also have the disease. I have SS, and just a little tidbit. The doctor was here last night educating us, and she told us that we're having SS disease. It means that it's part of your hemoglobin, the gene carried out from your hemoglobin. And you're right, it is the worst kind of sickle cell that there is. So other than that, I had another question. How did you deal with the lack of education on, you mentioned that you were incarcerated before and the CEOs didn't know anything about sickle cell, didn't want to know anything. about sickle cell. How did you deal with people's lack of knowledge or ignorance about sickle cell?
Yeah, sometimes, I would get mad when I was young, and I used to go to the hospital, like, go to the emergency room when I got sick, and I used to get mad and scream and yell at the doctors, when they didn't really understand my pain or what I was going through. Most of the nurses in the emergency room floor, like, they know what's happening, but they don't really get it sometimes, And I seen it, I experienced it, They would have to call the doctors that know about that, And they like, oh yeah, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that for them. But the experience that I had was pretty bad growing up. They didn't really know nothing about it, and I guess the awareness really wasn't out there like that about it. And I would have to wait sometimes hours and hours and hours and hours before I got my pain medicine when I went to the hospital. And I gotta go through pain all that time, and it gets progressively worse, as you know. So, it was bad. And as I got older, I learned that everybody's not like that. Like when I was locked up in the past, and I had my first experience with having a sickle cell attack in Nassau County Jail in Long Island, and some of the CEOs, they didn't know what the hell I was talking about. They didn't care. I was screaming in pain, and I can't do nothing about it. Like, it's not like I'm just acting, or, Like, I'm hurting. Like, it's like having a limb chopped off. You can scream. So, some of them didn't understand, and then you can just tell them, they're like, whatever, we don't care about it, And some of them did care, And it was putting the phone calls in and rushing, like, let's get this kid some help, So I had to learn that everybody's not the same, and everybody's just not gonna have the same attitude or knowledge about the sickle cell disease,
Being that you're a well-known artist and being that you have this disease, do you feel like a part of you is kind of responsible for spreading the word? I mean, how do you take it upon yourself to advocate for your disease? How do you take it upon yourself to spread the word? Aside from doing things like this, where else do you push the message? Like, we have to pay attention to this. It doesn't just affect me. I happen to be one of the few that can take care of myself, but there are others out there that are suffering.
Yeah, I definitely, incorporated it in my music. I talk about it in a lot of interviews. I do things like my book. That was one of the reasons why I did the book, so people could learn about health and health changes and stuff like that. My experiences with health, rather. And, those are the things I try to do. Use my platform to, get to other platforms where I could make it even, I could do even more, and spread the word.
In terms of complications with the disease, did you have to take penicillin or folic acid? And so, do you still take those medications currently?
Yeah, when I was young, they used to give me penicillin shots in the butt and all that. I used to hate that, But that was when I was young. I haven't had that since I was like 10 years old, probably 9 years old. Yeah, so I'm 37, by the way. I just turned 37 November 2nd.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. And yeah, so I ain't had that penicillin shot since I was like 10. And folic acid, one of my main doctors, she was a black female from Queens by the name of Dr. Francis in Jamaica, Queens. She told my parents that I should get penicillin shots, I should take folic acid, I should take a lot of zinc, and a lot of stuff on the vitamin side, the mineral side. She would tell my family that stuff. So yeah, to this day, I try to still take folic acid all the time, but I don't take penicillin, Because folic acid is just really, really good for you. Yeah.
Have you had any complications with your sickle cell? We know of acute chest, stroke, and the whole nine. Did you share that with us if you had any?
Yeah, I've had acute chest syndrome. When I was a kid, I went into a coma one time from crazy fever and pneumonia, which is acute chest syndrome. And Yeah, I almost didn't make it. My grandmother saved my life when I was a kid, because the doctors just thought I was sleeping. You know, and my grandma noticed I was sleeping for a long time. So they rushed in and whatever I don't know what they did, but they helped me. And you know, so that's one of the worst experiences I've been through. You know, I've been through where they told me that I had to get bone replacements because the bone died. Certain bones, you know what I mean, died because of the loss of blood flow, and oxygen to the blood, you know what I mean? So they were telling me things like that, like, oh, this is gonna happen, we see a little bit of this here, we see a little bit of that there. But, you know, I just try to, like I said, change my diet, and it makes your body, it makes your cells, you know, regenerate and build faster when you eat better. You know what I mean? It helps all the life living organisms in your body and your blood cells, and everything. It helps it regenerate and heal and just become stronger when you eat better and you live that lifestyle, you know?
What would you say was the turning point of Mobb Deep's career? And like, you know, where you really felt it, you know, about to take off? And how did you deal with that? Like, was there any doubt in your mind that that wasn't the route you were supposed to go, or, you know, the disease and all?
Nah, there was never no doubt in my mind that Mobb Deep was gonna be successful. Even when we first met and we started first doing music, it was like from day one we always had that confidence in ourselves. We always had the love for the music, for the hip hop, and it was just like the feeling of our music and how we felt inside was so powerful that we wasn't gonna let nothing stop us. You know what I mean? And that's the attitude that we just try to keep all the time as far as music. Now as far as the sickle cell is concerned, nah, it never stopped me from wanting to, you know, choose rap as a career, you know, because of whatever reasons. I never thought about that. It didn't even cross my mind. You know what I mean? Because in my mind, I just had to do whatever I wanted to do to succeed in life. You know what I mean? And nothing was going to stop that.
Are you right now, or in the future, because it sounds like you've actually done a lot right now where you've changed your lifestyle around to empower yourself. Are you working or collaborating with any organizations, whether in New York or anywhere in the world, with kids that have sickle cells?
Yeah, I'm working with the Sickle Cell Association of America.
Okay.
We're doing a lot of things together, like as far as, you know, speaking engagements like this, and you know, just different things to raise the awareness. We just started working together since I came home.
Okay.
I'm one of the ambassadors.
That's great. I've visited many kids. I myself personally have the trait. So it's once we got everyone that's here. Actually, the message should be is know your status. That's number one. That's